everyone, it's Melanie of Art Studio 320. It's Monday, which means a new project. And this week's project is a curbside pickup. It was free, yay! And I believe it's a child's vanity. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it a child's vanity. I was sort of wavering between a child's desk, and now in the mix is an entryway table or a foyer table. I have some ideas. I think I would like to strip the top and leave that raw wood or stain it. But either way, show some wood because I like to do that. And then maybe do it two-tone because I kind of like to do that too. We're going to get started with cleaning off the piece with some white lightning. But first, if you haven't subscribed yet, please take a moment and just press that red button. It doesn't cost you a thing and it helps me a whole lot. And you can follow me on Instagram. And just for those of you that have subscribed, thank you so much. You're the ones that have helped me get here, so thank you for that. Let's get to work. All right, first up is cleaning this desk with White Lightning by Dixie Belle. So I've got some fairly hot water here and I'm putting in some White Lightning. You can read the instructions and figure out how much you need, but it works really well and this desk really needed a good scrubbing. Of course, to clean it properly, you got to take off the hardware. So for the first time in my life, I am going to strip the top of this desk with citrus strip. And that is for paint and varnish. And I'm putting some saran wrap over the top. It just helps speed up the process a little bit. And it really didn't take long at all before it started to bubble. And I tested the corner first, and they suggest waiting for 30 minutes. You can wait up to 24 hours. The second time around, I just kind of poured it on there. It's very thick, so it's easy to move around. My best advice is for you to read the bottle before you start, so you have all of the proper equipment. You need a plastic scraper. You don't want a metal one. And you need something to put all that gook in, and you need to make sure that you dispose of it properly. I have a wire brush I'm using to scrape off the sides of the paint. It wasn't coming off very well, so I needed to put some more citrus strip on. And after I was all done, I realized that I was dealing with something called MDF, medium density fiberboard. When I was all finished, I needed to neutralize the citrus strip with mineral spirits. All right, friends, it is Tuesday and it is Tuesday afternoon, so I really need to get my butt in gear. I had a lot of errands to run this morning, so we're running a little behind. Yesterday I stripped the top and you saw that in the video. Turns out that the top is a veneer, not the thick wood. It's a thin piece of wood, and actually it's quite pretty, except that when I stripped the paint off, it revealed a lot of gouges and colorful language. Yay! Hey, they have the right to do that to their own furniture, and it was free, so I can't complain, but I have to change my plan. My plan is to finish sanding the edges here. You can see I have a little bit of paint left to sand off. It's very easy to do, no big deal. And I've sanded the top with a 120 with my Bosch. And I'll be ready to paint. I have a little bit of scuffing, I should say. And I'm actually using a 60 grit, which seems ridiculous, but it's just so smooth, so I need to really kind of scuff it up, hoping that the paint will adhere to it pretty fast. And speaking of paint, I have two new colors that I'm trying, a new company This company is a mom and pop company in Texas, and I love to support the smaller companies, but I'll tell you what, these guys are exploding in the States, in Canada, because apparently their paint is really good. So I will let you know what I think towards the end of the video, but it's called Melange, and I have Mink Brown here and Wallflower Pink, and these are very pretty colors. I think that they will look very nice on this desk. I am planning to paint the body of the desk with the Mink Brown and then trim it out with the Wallflower Pink. I think that'll look really cool, kind of sophisticated, and we'll go from there. I think we need to get started because I am feeling the pressure. So let's get to work, stick around, and find out what comes next. With me, because I don't know. Said it would be easier if I took the legs off and put the rest of the desk on a table, and it would just be easier to reach and easier to paint. So I had a little sanding and scuffing, and then I was ready to paint. And I'm starting with the Wallflower Pink, and I'm using my palm brush by Zibra, and I'm just going around doing the trim. I like to go with the lightest color first. It just seems a little bit easier. So if I mess up, I usually don't have to be as careful because I can paint over with what is the darker color. What I'm doing here is putting on some plastic Wood-X to cover up some tiny little pinholes that I believe were used to pin a skirt around the vanity. I think that's kind of cute. I told you earlier that I would report back about the Melange paint and what I thought of it, and the report is good. I love it. It is thinner than the other paints and a little bit easier to manipulate. It stays wet a little bit longer, so you have a little bit more time to work with it. And overall, the finish is beautiful. And when you sand it, it just gets buttery smooth. So I'll be using this paint again and again. I'm using a sanding pad here. This is one of the finer ones, and it just turned the paint into butter. Like I said before, you got to get yourself some finishing pads. I don't know why I didn't have them before. Now I'm going to spray paint the hardware with the color Champagne Mist, and it turns out it's a little silvery than I wanted for this project, so I'm going to change that later. Now I am going on with the Mink Brown and adding it to the desk. You'll see why I'm laughing in a minute. Okay, a quick update before I call it quits for the day. It is Tuesday night and it is 8:30. Had a bit of a setback. If you've been watching the video, you've been watching me paint first with the beautiful Wallflower Pink, and then I finished that, and then I went to Mink Brown. And separately, they're very pretty colors. Together, not so much at all. It reminds me of an ice cream store, and I am definitely not painting an ice cream store. I wanted this to look sophisticated, and this is about as far away from sophisticated as you can get. My original plan was to paint this as if it was a child's vanity or desk. Got some fairy transfers I was going to use. I haven't decided yet. I'm not giving up. I need some time to kind of stew about this and figure out what I want to do, because right now I'm very frustrated And you know, it's all part of it. I say that all the time, and it's true. It's just that this is, or you know, I'm human and I have real emotions, and right now I want to scream. I will see you in the morning. All right, friends, it is Wednesday and I've hit a bit of a wall. What does this remind you of? Neapolitan ice cream. Now I realize the white would eventually be covered up, and this is only one coat and it always looks ugly on the first coat, but I'm not digging the colors together. I am on this color combo, and I think I'm going to introduce Goddess in place of the Mink brown. So yeah, this is a nice neutral color. I like the Wallflower pink, and I want to keep that. I'm going to go back to my original plan of creating a child's desk or a young person's desk. I'm sure it'll be beautiful. To cover over the Mink brown, I am using Zibra Brushes, and it's a primer, and it's also a stain blocker. Not that the paint is stained, but it worked really well, and I needed something quick, and it dries very quickly. This paint, man, it's beautiful. It was really nice on top of the primer. Now it has primer in it, so you don't need to prime first, but in this case, I was putting a light color over dark, so. So I was talking earlier about when you're painting around the trim and sometimes it goes over. Well, because I changed colors, I needed to get that little bit of paint off. And once again, the finishing pads came to my rescue, and they worked very well. It was quite easy to get it off. And then I just sanded the rest of the paint, made it nice and smooth. Now I'm using the Fusion Mineral Paint in the color Goddess, which I just learned today is going to be discontinued very soon, which is unfortunate because it is a beautiful color. Painting spindles can be difficult. It's easy to miss places, and this little technique I created by myself really worked well. I'm sure somebody else has done it too. Now I've got the pink on the top. I did start with Goddess and I didn't like it, so I went with the pink, which was such a great choice. Now I wanted to just put a little bling on the legs, just make it nice and fancy, but not too fancy. I added a little bit of gold with some gilding wax to the legs, and oh man, I just think it looked so cool. It really added some class to this little desk. Good morning, everyone. It is Thursday, which means it's crunch time. I was up late last night finishing up the legs. I put little accents of gold. I think it really dresses up the piece. I like it a lot. Today I will be putting on Re-Desgin transfers. They look like this. All the different little things that I cut out. I kind of have a thing for fairies, not an obsession, but I do like them. I think they're so adorable, and I thought this piece would be perfect. In fact, I chose the color Wallflower pink because of the transfers. I thought they would blend nicely together. Today is the day. I am committed to making this desk a beauty, and I do like the pink. I do think it's very sweet, and I think that the transfers are going to make it even better. I'm just going to make sure I do it in a very classy way. All right, so let's get to work. Let's get this puppy finished. This was fun. I loved these fairies. I wanted to make sure that this little fairy was right in the corner so you couldn't see the edge, and it just looks so cute. In fact, it looked way better than I thought it was going to look. I was just thrilled with this redesign by Prima. I'm not affiliated with them, but I sure would like to be. They are so cute. Now I've got a burnisher here, and really a burnisher is a tool that you use to rub off the transfer. And what I do is I go along and I rub it, and I just pull off the plastic just a little bit. And if you see that there's a piece that you've left behind, all you have to do is put it back down and rub over it with the burnisher. Now you can use all sorts of different tools for a burnisher. I just happen to have quite a few, like clay tools and things like that, but something plastic for sure, or maybe like a light colored rubber, because a dark rubber will rub off on the paint. Now here I am just laying it all out before I put anything down. You just want to tape everything with some painter's tape just to give you an idea of what your composition is going to be, how it's going to balance out. You don't necessarily want it to be symmetrical. It's more interesting if you don't make it the same on all the different pieces. And you can see right here, I had two of the same for a moment and then I changed it. And they don't have to be the same amount on each side as long as they look balanced. And when I say balanced, I just mean it's not too weighty on one side with too many pictures and then not enough on the other. Oh, look at that fairy. Isn't she cute? Can you tell I like these things? The Gilding Wax is gold, and I am putting that on my hardware to make it nice and shiny, and to match the legs, of course. The spray paint just wasn't gold enough for this project. I'm wiping down the desk one more time, and then I'm going to put the top coat on. General Finishes satin is what I started with, and then I ended up putting an extra flat over the top. Well, it's time to put the hardware on, and that means the piece is finished. And I am so pleased with how this turned out. Well, friends, that is all I have for you today. I really hope that you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed the last couple of days. Yes, it started out kind of rough. I really got thrown when the two colors I imagined to go together, which, I mean, color is kind of my thing. I was really thrown when I started to paint it and it just went south. But I pulled it together and I went back to my original idea, which was the children's desk, or an adult could use it too. If you're crazy about fairies, then this is for you. It will make a very good desk for a child, and I imagine them making memories with this desk. I had so much fun putting the fairies and the flowers on there. I made stories in my head while I was putting the fairies and the flowers down, and on the one side there's a fairy that's swinging and she's looking down at a bunny rabbit, and the bunny rabbit is smelling flowers. And then on the top of the dresser, I put a fairy on each side. One is kind of peeking out of a flower, and they are looking in the direction of what would be on the desk. Like if a child was sitting there drawing a picture, they would be looking and interested to see what that child was doing. Then I have a fairy that's hiding. So it just was really fun to do. I should have listened to my original idea and just gone with it. Stick around for the final photos, and if you like this, give me the thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for being here. See you next time.
If I was smart, I'd find you a star, and we could be in love, lighting up